All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts.
Right here, if you have a beard, random men are going to always walk up to you and try to lick your beard.
Ew, that's so disgusting. Oh.
You're one of Mitten's kittens.
Hold on, fuck. So I'm like, nope.
Oh, well, you lost all your fleets.
Oh, fuck. Not what we intended. Oh, God. What do we do?
The Metashow.
All right, we're live now. My OBS is just like giving you all sorts of problems this morning. I literally ran it for about 2 hours before the show started, and now it has issues. I love computers. So guys, wow. We're live. It's Saturday at the Metashow. We have an awesome guest here, first time guest actually on the Metashow. UAxDeath. Welcome to the show, man. If just go ahead and tell yourself or tell the audience a little bit about you.
Дорогие друзья, от советского информбюро я хочу представить вам нашу советскую дисциплину.
So I believe you just insulted your mother, TheMittani. That's.
Oh my. Yeah, when we first got into the questions, it was always interesting indeed because it sounded like what the phrase I used like back in 2006 was like being in a fleet with a bunch of aliens from the planet Murder, right? And like that is pretty much perfect right there. That's fantastic. Love it. So do you want to maybe tell people who you are in English or?
Yeah, sure. So I don't know. For those who doesn't know me, I started to play around 2004, the end of it. It's funny. I started a beta play in 2003. I never liked the game, and I just quit it. And I said, "Well, this is unplayable. Fuck it." And I move on to till a year later, and I started as
like
nobody.
Competitive BattleTech, weren't you? Like you were playing old MechWarrior 3 or something.
I was playing MechWarrior Online with a bunch of my guys, whom I actually joined EVE Online at the same time. Which was actually awesome because it's very hard for such a social game as EVE Online when you walk there and you have nobody around, right? But I came with like 20-30 dudes with me right away, so that was awesome. So we were helping each other, building each other. So
it wasn't that MechWarrior Online because there is a MechWarrior Online currently, which is kind of a
no. That was old school. Yeah, that used to belong. I forgot what's the company name, but then Microsoft bought it and pretty much killed the game, and they closed online. And since they closed online, there was no point to actually play the game. So we moved on to something else, and this is where we are. And I was slowly but surely building my empire. I used to be in Curse Alliance, then we separated as Russians, as Russian group. We created the Red Alliance. We wanted to be something separate, independent, whatever you name it, and we moved on. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people heard about Russians, Red Alliance, those Scumbag Phoenix, and all this horse shit.
Oh, whoa. Hold on a second. Sorry, guys. Shirar is throwing money at the screen again here. We're having video issues, and Shirar says, I saw him on a Russian mail-order husband catalog, something XOXOXO.
He said, what a catch, XOXOXO.
So we're gonna dive into serious Russian politics in a bit here. We're gonna go through our intro mechanics. Of course, Laz, as you can see right now, live, just scrambling to figure out what's going wrong with his OBS and making sure there's a big Counter-Strike tournament today. So as usual on Saturdays, Twitch always has something going on, which is fantastic. And so if we have any weird freezes, that's what that is. So we're going to be, just to give everybody a little bit of a detail about what we're going to do while Laz does technical stuff. We have 3 Pirate Ship rookie codes to give away, which were provided to us by CCP to make it rain on the boys, which we are always happy to do. We are going to be going over some nullsec news, some general, as usual, nullsec recap. We have CCP Please coming up, and then we're going to be going into Russian politics. Death, who is, of course, a former CSM member. Are you currently a CSM member as well, Death?
Yes,
you are.
CSM, yeah.
Excellent. Yep. So we have, not only is he one of the most infamous Russian oligarchs, autocrats within this game, he is also on the CSM again, and we'll have a lot of interesting things to say to that. So get ready to ask all of your awkward CSM questions, but perhaps more fun than awkward CSM questions, awkward questions about block wars and politics and SOV and EVE. So Laz, what's our status? Are you?
We're good.
We're good. Fire.
I think I fixed it, guys. I think it's working.
Oh my,
Fingers
famous
crossed.
last words. That's excellent. Okay, so why don't you take us away, Laz? Now that you've done your putting out fires.
Yeah. So now that we've put out the fires, and I don't know, did you already talk about the Scott Manley video?
No, we haven't talked about anything besides Russians and you looking
me frantically.
Yes.
All right. So so Scott Manley, guys, who is an Evil Line player, has what, like 500,000 followers.
465,000 followers on YouTube.
He just a few hours ago he came out with a video talking about the Fountain War and just talking about his perspective on it, some of the fights in it. It's actually like a 30-minute long video. It's just really
It's a 23-minute video. It's not even like a oh my god Kickstarter thing. It's just here's a documentary about it, so you guys can take a look. I'll post it here. Laz already posted it, and his channel is massive. I mean, he's probably one of the biggest YouTube guys out there. He does mostly like Kerbal Space Program things, but he put together a 20-minute long documentary about everything that happened in the Fountain War. So it's a great refresher. And Laz, why don't you talk for a minute so I can mute my mic and blow my nose on live TV?
Nice. I'm just gonna sit here and just let him watch. Everyone just watch. I'm just kidding. All right, so guys, yeah. So if you haven't seen it yet, the video we linked in chat, myself and TheMittani linked it. It's a really interesting video on there, and he actually has some actual Eve videos, not just Kerbal stuff, on his channel. So you should check that out. And then we're gonna go ahead and jump into the actual Nullsec Power Hour.
Let's talk about war and killing. Let's do
that. So this week was actually kind of interesting. A few small things happened. Start things off, really, I guess the biggest thing that you've probably heard about, if you've ever looked at our Eve at all this week, was the State of the Union, which we haven't had one in quite a while, like this at this magnitude. So, Metatani, it was your speech. Why don't you talk about it? There's a lot of there are some angry people.
Oh my! Well, it is really interesting because like the focus of the campaign. So we're going to war. The Imperium's going to war. We all know this. And it's been so long since we went to any kind of like a real war that I think that people have forgotten who we are and what we do. Like just straight up, like the amount of screeching and crying that we saw when we announced that we were going to war was fantastic. And I really just sort of felt the tier tanks, like there's like fuel tanks that you have as an alliance leader, and Death understands this, that like, you know, when you see people really like freaking out, you go, okay, must be doing something right. Okay, this is the right way to go. So it was really sort of fun to give this speech and just see this just explosion of rage, mostly rage of the impotent sort. But you know, what can you do? But it's funny because like, so before we get into like what exactly the Imperium is doing and why we gave the speech and what we're doing in Eve, it's important to remember that since Fazisov hit many months ago, we haven't really gone to any real war. In fact, we haven't seen the Imperium go to a serious war of any real kind for many months. Like we gave up territory in the Southwest, everybody consolidated their borders. We had a few like test case wars where we started fucking around in Providence and messing around in Cloud Ring, you know, basically a couple months ago to test how the system works. But we haven't basically said, you know, somebody's going down in a while. So, it's interesting. I guess people maybe forgot that we do this, and that we're not the sorts that will allow hostiles to do things on our borders. But whatever. So what we did, we have a bunch of our enemies are hiding assets in Lowsec. People in Nullsec who would mess with the Imperium would basically flee to having money moons in Lowsec and not worry about us going after them, because historically the Imperium, after this whole Darius thing and that whole Asakai thing, not like Laz would know anything about Darius.
I know nothing about anything.
You know, nothing about that. Don't shoot PL. PL is blue. So, you know, historically we've done very badly in Lowsec, and so we've got to get over that. Step one was already accomplished, which is just to clear off a small would-be coalition that the leader of Pandemic Horde was trying to build in Cloud Ring, which is right on our borders in Pureblind. We said we were going to get rid of that, and then they wisely just moved to Aquarius. I can't really blame them for not fighting us. They had a really clever idea, actually. They rused us, and they should get credit for this. We normally give a State of the Union collectively, like we decide in the directorate to give one of these speeches with just like 1 or 2 days of notice. In this case, we announced the speech about 4 or 5 days before it happened, and Pandemic Horde did something very clever, which is they said, okay, well, if they're going to go to war at this time, and they're probably going to hit us, just before the speech, they set their vulnerability timers to Australian time zone, which worked out for us anyway because we had to do 6 hours worth of convoy moves to restage such that we could project power over this area. But, well done to them as they reset their timers to Australian time zone, which made our Aussies happy, and then they went to Aquarius immediately. So can't blame them for that. That allows us to pivot on one of our new projects, which hasn't been announced at the speech. Some of the boys have heard it at the Fireside Chat. And then we're going to go to LoSec, and we're going to find the people who have been messing with our guys, and we're going to, just... And it's going to be interesting to see the screaming once the actual war begins, because there's so much screaming and nothing has happened yet. Like, we just started, and you would think that we were putting babies on spikes. I mean, it's just amazing. So yeah, that's basically what we're up to, is, keep it up. I'm really pleased to see the rage.
Putting babies on spikes.
We haven't done that yet,
Yeah,
and you would think that if you went to Reddit, you would see whoop, like we had been just doing that all day, like boop, there's a baby on a spike. Nope, we haven't done anything like that. We just said don't attack our guys from Cloud Ring, and also we're going after those low-sec moons that certain people thought that they could shelter from us, and it's like we were committing a war crime. It's amazing.
Well, a quick shout out while we're at it to Bombaril with the new sub and Shrar with the 2 months of resub. And thank you both for the support. And while we're doing shout outs, UAxDeath guys here on chat has told me about 3 times now to make sure I mention this. He is going to be giving out 3plex to you guys at the end of the show when we do our giveaways from his alliance. So you guys need to make sure you thank
Legion
him.
of Death.
Legion of Death guys. So 3plexes to all of you guys.
So Death makes it rain too. That's excellent. We should have other block leaders on the show more often. I think we'll sort of, set up a competition, I guess, is who can make it rain on the boys the most. Love it. Well, thank you, Death. It's very generous.
You're going to make us look cheap.
You're welcome, guys.
Yeah, you will. I mean, we're just giving away we're not giving away plaques.
So, guys, in the show, the Mittani's giving away a Titan this week.
Pimp my ride.
I see how it is. All right.
Yeah, so moving on, or not really moving on, with the low-sec stuff you're talking about, and Death, you've seen past SOTGs and just what's going on in EVE Online. How would you actually compare today's EVE with the Reddit community and the way everyone reacted to things to the way it used to be back in the old wars?
I mean, it's really it's pretty much divides into the 2 points. One of them first was obviously emotion when the whole thing was announced and the people was like, some of them understood, some of them just was pure emotion, saying, "Oh my God, this stuff is shit. It's complete shit, and what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do," and started to cry around and going crazy. But then some of us just sit down and said, okay, so maybe we don't see something, maybe we don't see some perception or some idea what's really behind of the whole change. Yeah. So we started a war against the Red Alliance in order to see what is really going on, what's the real game mechanic completely from A to Z.
He's talking about FuzzySoft itself.
Yeah, I'm talking about a FuzzySoft, with, just to make sure we're not putting our emotions ahead of us and saying like, "Oh my fucking God, this is no cool. We got used to our little tiny beautiful holes." No, we tried, and as you can see, I made a report which I'm gonna make a public in a few. I don't know, Alex, you wanna maybe host it that Google Doc that I share with you guys somewhere so people can read it as well and maybe share my opinion. Or should I go to the Reddit and just post it there?
Well, you can do both. I mean, we can link that there, and if you link it to us here in Skype, we'll get it posted into chat, or you can post it in chat.
It's not public. Let me make a copy of it real quick, and then I can make it public.
Well, if you want to share it, Death, you have to actually set it to have it be shared. So
yeah, okay. So the thing is, we try to see what the development team in a CCP right now, how they see it, how they think it's happening, and what's the idea of the game mechanic. But from this past 2-3 weeks that we were fighting nonstop, people crying.
Okay, this is hilarious because due to the OBS settings while Laz is trying to fix this, on the stream right now, all you can see is Laz's conversation with Death, where he said, "I'm a space important. I'm quite an important person. Be nice to me." And he's like, "If it's true, please forgive me." So that's pretty hilarious. You get to see.
I mean, I'm glad to show the start of the rest of the conversation because I mean there was some pretty nice cybering going on.
Did you cut out all the cyber sex? That's a shame.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
I linked it in chat though the logs that I was trying to pull up.
Okay, so in chat, that is what Death has provided regarding Aegis-Sov in the context of clashes between large alliances and coalitions. So why don't you just summarize? I mean, we're on this already, and you've been involved with fights recently. Why don't you just tell us about your experience?
Well, it's a waste of the time, let's be honest, and a lot of people is not happy because instead of doing what we used to do in the meeting and pre-order, packs, is we just used to do actually flea fights. Yeah, they were laggy, there were some problems, there were some kickbacks, and some other problems with it. But at least we were getting up to shoot the people, to enjoy that, blowing the shit up, and then be proud on the kill board or whatever it is, or CCP saying, "Oh my God, there was a LXQ fight, there was O2O fights, there was some BRs, which has nothing to do with us." But I'm just saying, like,
or the old battles
huge,
in CJ6.
Yes, exactly. Those massive, huge fights where people like to brag about it, and they're gonna go to the pub to their friends and say, "Hey, you know what? We had 5, 6 dozen, whatever amount of the people in a simultaneously in one fight, and we're just so fucking happy and proud about it." Now it's just pretty much like a fucking capture the flag where you're just running around like a little fucking monkey and you're trying to enthuse that thing, okay? And
I love you, Dad.
It's not just but Alex, it's a fucking, I don't know, retarded game. Like, oh my God, I'm running, let me get that shit. I mean, come on, seriously, this is a space fucking game, all right? If I want to play some kind of Minecraft, then I will go and play it, right?
Well, I mean, what we found is, I don't refer to it as like being a little fucking monkey chasing around playing capture the flag, but there hasn't really been. I mean, the closest thing to a block war that we've seen since FozzieSoft hit was this recent conflict that you've had in the Northeast, where you did actually see like Triumvirate and all of these guys. And I remember seeing in one of these fights, like there was a fairly big kill board death toll. I mean, it was at least more than 50 billion, which in this day and age is a lot.
Well,
what was that like?
Just to give you a little run of numbers, for the past 3 weeks, we killed more than trillion ISK. I mean, on both sides, which is, let's be honest, a tremendous amount of the ISK.
That's a lot of ISK, yeah.
And we killed a few Titans, few motherships there and here. There was, and in that particular link that you guys showed up is, it shows on a kill board particularly how much been lost, and we're trying, and opposite side, which is Red Alliance, wants to get a fight too. But after all of the time, so just to simply run down the numbers, so out of the 10 hours, let's say, of CTA, right, their actual fleet engagement, let's be honest, the overall is an hour, and 9 hours we have to bag, run around, with our shit pants and trying to enthuse the things, and not to mention that, amount of the nodes could be insane, and, things getting killed. So it's not really the game that we came to play, and it's not let me put this way. We get not what we pay for, okay? The game is advertised as a spaceship game. As of right now, that has nothing to do with the spaceship. That's just you running around with Enthusiast links and you just doing that shit show, which is, it's killing the morale of the troops and it burns out the leadership. So with the,
I just have a couple clarifying questions here. I mean, one, this combat that you're talking about, which you were unsatisfied with, did that happen before or after the Parallax patch, which implemented the node regen, node decay thing?
No, it's after. We talked about.
Okay, so even with node decay in, this was still like that.
Well, what I think he's talking about is being the aggressor, because being the aggressor, you still have that 60 fucking minute initial timer, and if anyone interrupts you, then you have to restart it, and it's just the 60-minute timer on a high ADM system when there's no fighting is. It's ungodly boring, and as an FC, like, it's having to entertain your fleet for multiple hours when you're doing multiple of those ADM6 with no contested. I mean, it's definitely something that needs to be looked at on.
Back in the day, we would play like Transform Ice. together while doing that. I mean, the thing is, like, what I think is, like, there's a lot of issues here, but one of the ways to describe it is we say that we play this game for big wars, and we play this game for big battles. The big battles are consequences of the wars, and the wars are always about conquest. I mean, the people who are the content creators, I guess, in the lingo of the day, you know, I don't know about you, Death, but we would always play this for conquest, for taking entire regions at a go, rather than. I mean, when was the last time that you actually took a region?
Well, that was, you know, not so far ago and so far ago in the same time, because, you know, what I was fighting for since, you know, I moved in the Gemini is for my drone regions, you know,
Right.
which been lost a while back, and slowly but surely we're in there. But again, I asked pretty much everybody who I knew in my alliance, and just, you know, for my own personal opinion to make sure I'm not going crazy, that do you guys like the new soft, which we call fuzzy soft, because it's, you know, just
It is
pretty
what
much
it is.
Yeah.
yes. And they said no. You know, even before, where they had to grind the structures, you know, SBUing and stuff, it still was much easier because there was no cog blocking. For example, as the law said, you know, you just, if you lose that thing, you have to restart from the beginning. And keep in mind, this is not a work. This is not a second job or fucking third job. Okay, this is where the people come and they want to, you know, have some fun and relax and enjoy, you know, being in this game. You know, yeah, they like the definitely social part about it, and I'm pretty sure this is the 90% why most of the people stick with this game, not because
It's because
it's
they're
fucking fun.
friends, right? Exactly.
Yes,
It's
yeah,
because
because
they're
they're friends,
community.
you know. Exactly, because the social part about it. But, you know, even that social part is getting overrun with this boredom from this particular soft. And as being as a CSM member, you know, I try to, you know, bring this to attention that there's a, you know, a lot of things. I mean, I don't know what I can say cannot since the NDA, but my point, what I'm trying to say is that, you know, it was brought up to CCP's attention and some particular guys and then Fozzie himself, and, you know, the reaction that we got kind of quite surprised me. Well, you know, it was pretty much like, oh, fuck off, you know, I know what I'm doing, which is
Dangerous, very dangerous.
you know,
And
because
just, sorry to cut you off, but I mean, just saving, kind of going on that same thought process is, in the old system, at least you'd have a kill mail. You killed something. You got a kill mail. And now in Tosis Link, you have guys go sit there, like you said, 9-10 hours for a 1 hour objective. And what do they have to show for their time? For us, they clicked on a pap link. For anyone else who doesn't use pap links or anything like that, they have nothing. They literally have no way to show that, hey, I was here for 10 hours taking this freaking objective. Besides
because there's no kill mail. Right?
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Of it. Yeah, like
Yeah,
the lack of kill
just
mails is just. I mean, because back in the day, even like shooting SBUs, like especially troll SBUs, it might suck, but the guys who did the work to blow that structure up, they would at least get a record of.
Exactly.
I was there.
Exactly.
I did a thing. There was an ISK damage value. That's another thing about the Fozzie contests is that there is no actual ISK damage. Right, there is if you succeed in blowing up an iHub or something like that, but there's no real ancillary ISK damage at all. In Dominion, even the process of trying to do it, people on both sides would lose substantial amount of ISK in terms of SBUs being blown up, everything. Like somebody would be anteing something up. So it's just I don't know.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of being involved, and again, the whole purpose of Solve War, you know, for the past
Conquest.
You will agree with me that you know, it just
conquest. That's what it is. It's about, yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a reason why we ended up in the Dominion system. It was bad because of power projection, because everybody coalesced into 2 blocks, and each block, with the exception of the Russians, had their own thing up in the northeast, as you always do. But you know, you have each side of the galaxy, right? And so that was a little bit extreme. But you know, people were motivated to go to war for conquest. Now, the good news for people in the Imperium is that Scion and I have had a very, very evil idea that will get us back into the Conquest game, but I'm not going to be talking about that on the Metashow because people just have to find out about it the hard way. But I think, I mean, do you think that's a fair statement? Because I'm loading the question up. Do you think it's fair that we have gone to war to conquer over the last When I say we, I mean nullsec
not just
computers.
purely. I mean, yes, there was a majority, but not just a purely. We were going just for the Conqueror. There was also people knew with the Conqueror, you getting desperately all the time fleet fights, no matter what. Is that a super
Conflict,
fleet
you're
fight?
into Crucible,
Yes,
exactly.
yes, exactly. So that was what were motivating people, and I think a month ago, or maybe yeah, about so a month ago or whatever. Um, we had as a CSM, we had a chat with a CCP Larkin, which is actually a very great dude,
Yeah,
awesome.
he's awesome. He was
He's
on the show a couple weeks ago.
the
Awesome.
guy just motivated. He's just his mindset the right way and so on. And he was asking questions. I believe it's not NDA anymore since he already said that, but he was like, guys, what you think if I will do this and that kind of a changes to the super caps? And I asked him, and the people from CSM were talking to him, yeah, this is might be good, this is might be not. And I asked him one simple question. I said, guys, why the fuck we need all those changes if we have no place to use the super caps for?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, yeah, you're right. So, and they later on they came up with an ideas of the citadels and whatnot. So, because I told them, I said, in order to use those super caps, whatever it is, there has to be a reason for it. Like in the Dominion, you have to shoot the POSs or SBUs or structures that requires to do a lot of the damage, and that was supposed to be done. But now there's no need for it. There's your entire empire could be trolled by two guys on a frigates with Antaz's module, right? And you have to react because you're not sure what the hell is going on.
That
Thanks
was
God there was
completely ridiculous. I mean, at least they moved away slowly. I mean, they've sort of gotten away from that. I mean, there have been improvements.
Well,
yeah, I mean the CSM gave the feedback. So for those who listen to us, guys, I mean it's not like CSM just completely stood down and say like, yeah, fuck it, no, it all works fine. No, we fought for it, but we never were heard. That's a big difference. So, I don't know where it's gonna put us in the future, but from what I know, I'm not really happy about it.
well, with the capital changes that they've announced so far, what's your perspective on them? I mean, how do you feel about the capital changes in general? Besides there not being a really big reason to put them on the field yet, like how do you feel about the way they're going with them?
Well, definitely it's something that was supposed to be done like 5-6 years ago, which would be like literally, right on spot. There's a few things that I'm not happy about, like ESM jamming and stuff, but that's just some minor things, and that's my maybe personal perception. I don't know, but in general, I say it's a right way to move. Just again, we have to see the final product in order to make a judgment, because right now we're just in the stage of the planning, thinking about it, and just a lot of things can change. But the general idea, it's nice. Those things has to be more. Since CCP cannot control, the mass production of the super caps and so on, then there needs to be a tool where they could be easily destroyed one by another. I mean, Alex, I think it's not going to be a secret, right? In CSM 6, when we had one of our first meeting in a basement, they had that conference room in the basement. Remember,
right.
With a stuffer.
Mm-hmm.
Remember we were talking in that days, which is what already 4 years ago, right?
Yeah,
I think
it's 4 or 5 years ago. Jesus Christ, yeah.
Yeah, it's 5 years ago. Holy shit! So you and me, we were talking about that the supers needs to be killed, and you have to give us the tools to do so, because a lot of people were complaining, Titan Online, Super Cap Online, and all kind of stuff. And we asked the staffer, like, why don't you just give one super option to somehow scramble or hold another super?
Yeah,
remember
the super point. The idea is, why don't we let a super have another super point so the things die?
Exactly.
Right? There's more
Exactly.
risks
Remember?
Yeah, and get rid of the EWAR immunity, which thankfully finally they're talking about doing. 5 years later. I wanted super points, get rid of the immunity.
Yep. So my point is just the things could be much easier already, and you wouldn't have to go through the entire struggle, But I don't know. Again, we're not the developers, right? We're not the run CCP as a company.
Actually,
so.
I am.
Oh my! I don't know. I mean, I want to touch on the CSM stuff in a bit, but I mean, one of the things that I'm noticing people saying in comments is that we don't have an opportunity for hate in this game anymore, and that I'm pleased to announce that after what I've seen in the last few days, ever since I've given that little speech, that I think I see hate in the game again. People seem to be very angry at the Imperium, and we haven't really done anything yet. So I have hope for all of you who are looking for more hate to be back in the game, since apparently we have already gotten to be so hated and we haven't even done anything yet that, believe me, once the Imperium actually starts to get going, there will be a veritable factory of that. So you ain't seen nothing yet. But we'll see. Our crazy plan might not work. But I want to ask you some questions about CSM stuff, actually, Death.
Sure.
I have heard... this business with people from the CSM being removed and not being replaced, and then there was an incident on Twitter recently where CCP Fozzie had gone off talking about how players should not be relying on the CSM now. Now, back when we were originally on the CSM 4 or 5 years ago, it was the voice of the player base, and there's a lot of a spotlight on it. Has CCP marginalized the current CSM? What's the story?
Well, Alex, I feel like a dinosaur because when you and me were in a CSM 6 and CSM 7, it's, from what it is today, it feels like a completely, I don't know, huge new era, I don't know. Let's say we were in a high tech. This is a Stone Age where the tools, there's a beautiful amount of the tools compared to what we had, just a shitty fucking Skype chat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, the tools that they have right now to communicate, to see, to integrate, and CSM being like, integrated part of the CCP, it's just amazing. It's truly amazing. But the people, there's a two sides of the fan. One of them is a CSM is, I mean, how should I say it? Not such a harsh word. A joke.
Wow.
Okay. Because
I love you, Death. Wow.
we don't have we're not united. And there is no point to unite us because there's people in the CSM who's just trying to run away and scream like little vagina boys, okay, who has a sand in it, okay, saying like, hey, listen to me, I'm a CSM member, I have a voters, blah, blah, blah. Shut the fuck up and do your fucking job, you fucking moron.
I think that was the New Yorkin.
That is amazing. Out. I mean, because when we had it with CSM 6, of course, it was a very united voice. I mean, everybody was united, and the people, like, there was two people who weren't united, and that was basically that. They had to get with the program, and then they changed the entire voting system to try to avoid a show of unity from the player base. And it seems now like people are complaining that it's ineffective. And of course, any kind of council. I mean, when was the last time, Death, in nullsec? When was the last time that you saw an effective council system run Alliance?
Well, never, because
Brave Collective.
It's very simple. You like if you have a military structure, how come you can have a fucking council? It doesn't work like that. There has to be a leader, and there has to be assistant, and so on, and advisors from advisors, whatever.
Exactly.
But you cannot run that bunch of fucking schoolgirls that hoping that with the pink shit the stuff is not going to get bloody. That's pretty much what's going on right now. And I don't blame some of the CCPers. First of all, we all know they're not entitled to listen to the CSM, right? And never been obligated to do so. So even now it creates the more like a distance between a CSM and a CCP. Yeah, there are some guys that walks in and like, hey guys, could you give us a feedback, blah blah blah, and walks away. And but the majority of it, like, well, fuck the CSM, we don't need them.
How did it get to that point? I mean, that's a question, because I mean, you've seen the evolution of the CSM for over multiple terms now. How did we get to where we are now in that situation?
Well, because first of all, I guess, Alex, it's yours and mine fault as well. I would say so, because when we quit the CSM7, I mean, once our terms were done in CSM7, right, we never ran for it later because we thought that it was pretty much at the point where it's very nicely tweaked. I mean, more or less, let's agree.
It was
more or less,
working pretty damn well in CSM6 and CSM7. It's true.
Exactly. So there was no point for us to run there, right? But since there was not so much presentation of the people who is highly organized like us, because people like to blame nullsec people for anything and everything, right? But yet we're the most organized and skilled people because
people get so angry about organization. Organization is what wins wars. It gets policies through. I mean, organization is everything, and people it seems like there's a lot of people who refuse to accept that, who just sit there and get really angry on the sidelines and say it shouldn't be this way. That is how human nature works. And when you have an organized system, you have an organized council, things get done. Just like in nullsec, you have an organized alliance, it wins, as opposed to a disorganized rabble that is easily marginalized and ignored. Is that what you're saying has the CSM has degraded into?
That's pretty much what happened. And the CSM disorganized, and they cannot come to the same you know how it works. Politics, no politics, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you have to push some unpopular decision, but for better, for good, it's other thing. But this you collect everybody around. You say, guys, listen, this is what needs to be done. You explain to them, and CSM stands as one, and the thing getting done, right? Yeah. Not with this CSM. I mean, I haven't been a part of the CSM 8 or 9, and even on the CSM 10, I was brought just because someone else was removed, and it was pretty much not even a middle term. It was more like an end term, but whatever. Right. So, the people, CSM is not having chatting with each other on the Skype. Like, it's I don't know, it's stupid. And I approached the CSM and I try to build up some kind of a, like a team group, whatever. But they like, no, we solo fucking cock-sucking motherfucking, best pride people who, people vote for us. I'm like, Jesus, oh my God.
What was the phrase that you used earlier on the show to describe?
Little vagina boys.
Yeah. Yeah, because they take so much self-pride in themselves, like, oh my God, we achieved being fucking CSM. You are fucking nobody, cockroach.
This is why we are always allied with the Russians. Yes. People wonder why we get along so well, and yes, that is fantastic. Well, but yeah, no, I mean, it's nuts. It's interesting to see the what I've noticed and what I mentioned in the speech the other day is we're seeing entropy and degradation across the board on a number of channels. So the CSM used to be organized and united and be effective, and now it's degraded into anarchy, and you also have all these random little focus groups which don't even have NDAs, and those are also anarchy, and those are just randomly selected, basically fiefdoms. And then in nullsec, you have the Northwest, which is the Imperium. You have the Northeast, which is your organization. And then outside of that, I mean, NC.dot and PL have moved out of SOV entirely, other than NC.dot having a few moons and like 3 SOV systems. They're essentially low-sec roaming entities functionally. And I mean, I don't know if you noticed on the eastern half of the galaxy, but on the western half of the galaxy, everything has just degraded into tiny little warring states. And it just seems like order and discipline and people giving back to their members is just, I mean, what's it like on your side of the galaxy? Is it the same way as it is over here on the west?
Well, us, we've always been highly organized, and you can see, you can follow the tracks that where we were, what's 5-6 years now? No, 5 years we were fighting with a solar fleet, or 4 years, whatever. Getting old now,
Seriously, it's kind of scary, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
I just had 7 years in my corp, like this week.
So we were, fighting, and we realized that with a new, patch and new solved game mechanics, it's better to be allied than fighting each other and see where it's going to put us. So we could have put aside that, hate, personal, I don't know, agendas, whatever there was there between us on the side, and just get it done. And we.
But I mean, what about? I mean, your territory is secure and organized, but I mean,
Yes.
like everything below Innsmother on down. I mean, over here on the western half of the galaxy, everything from basically Cloud Ring on down is just fractured.
Because the fish routes from the head. I mean, if there is no people who's willing to create,
Is that a
the
Russian
fucking,
idiom?
Yeah.
Is the fish rots from the head? That's
Or sprouts from the head, yeah.
yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
So if there's no leadership who is willing to pull it, right, then there's just a bunch of wannabes who are just going to be like, yeah, I'm going to be your boss. Yeah, I will do something for you if you will kiss my ring. But in reality, they don't do shit. And those just we call them alliances, right? That's generated there, but they are not. They're just a bunch of random people.
Yeah, they're not. Like if you bring up Dotland, I mean, guys who are watching the show, like don't just kind of like I said in the speech, like bring up fucking Dotland and sort the alliances by number of characters. And what you're seeing is that the organized entities are growing, right? So the northeastern block, like you've got Death in his territory, that continues to expand in terms of numbers. The Imperium continues to grow massively. And the rest of the galaxy that's not in the northwest and the northeast seems to be just sort of degrading into these tiny, fragmented little, yeah, I mean, we call them alliances, but they're almost just like, I don't know, petty kingdoms.
Yes, they are. They are. That's exactly the right describe for them, because, again, with those changes with the SOV and everything, the leadership of the old days and the people who are willing put the man hours into the game just give up on it.
Oh, so someone in chat just said, what Welshbug? Hey, Death, don't shittle me so much. We hold two systems and have fun messing around there. So kiss my ring and I'll pad your sweet head.
Give it to me.
It's really interesting because if you look at all the big wars, typically all the big wars are kind of handled by 3 to 4 people. So if those people aren't leading alliances, leading groups, then we're kind of seeing a degradation of what's going on in Eve, because anytime you like PL, anytime they go to war, typically they're poaching that other groups, lead FCs and content creators. So therefore, if PL is sucking those people into that alliance, then you're losing that many people outside of PL to create content. So
yeah, I mean, the thing about war is you have to have an objective that's reasonable, right, before you go to war. And so one of the reasons why the Imperium stopped taking space for the Imperium is that the system has changed such that you can only really take space. And when I say taking space, I mean actually holding the SOV and what have you, if you occupy it, which is good. I mean, I think the fact that the activity in space impacting indexes is excellent. But what we're seeing from members across the board in all alliances is that people miss the big battles and they miss the big wars and taking territory and playing like the grand game of Risk. Now,
yeah, but Alex, even before, taking the space was profitable. It made sense. It was making sense before.
There was a reason to take it because you needed the money. Yeah, no, it's interesting. Now, I mean, we have come up with a system in the last 3 days, which we're going to try to implement, which will be extremely controversial and make a lot of people very, very unhappy. But what's interesting about what we've come up with, which everybody will find out the hard way, is that it doesn't actually involve taking SOF. And it doesn't involve actually putting down anything. So we believe that we've engineered a system that will allow us to conquer without engaging in the gameplay that has been forced on us regarding that conquest, right? So we don't know whether this will work. We'll see. And if it does work, Death will copy it and instantly start doing it on his side of the galaxy too. That's just how this works. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah, anyway, we'll just you can have your half and we'll stay over here.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Listen, you know how it works between us. We're just gonna sit down in the bar, drink it up, got shit faced with a beautiful Russian hand grenades, and then problem solved, right?
As usual, that is how diplomacy is done in Eve. But no, it's just going to be interesting to see because I think that if people didn't hunger for war and conquest, our organizations would not be strong. And people, I don't know, we just have to see what happens with the new sort of Balkanized. Is there a more polite way of saying it? Back in the day, like 20 years ago in political science, the term would be Balkanization, but that is probably inappropriate these days. But regardless, I don't know, it's just a mess. It's all kind of a mess is the point, is with the exception of the bastions of order of the blocks and hegemonic powers. I mean, PL is still organized. NC is in some trouble. They're down to like one main FC. The Imperium is going strong. The Russian bloc is going strong. After that, it's just...
NC is a good FC.
Well, they have
it's just
AFC.
I just want to do one step back and say, like, some people asking about, who's doing their job on a CSM, who is not. Let's put yourself in a situation where you are the game developer. Okay, you have a thing that you have to do, and and it will be done, whatever. So long story short, you hear from every CSM member different say, and you're going nuts because you don't know who to trust or who to listen to, right? Because there's no united opinion. So those opinions just fall through because the game developer have to listen to this bullshit, and by the end of the day, he's like, well, fuck that shit. Plus, the most important part, guys, you have to keep in mind, none of those game developers are playing their own fucking game. So it's like being a chief on a kitchen, and you don't want to eat your own motherfucking food, okay? Because you're gonna either fucking die, or you're gonna choke to the death, So
Nice.
Wow. I mean, it is interesting. I mean, there are certain aspects of it that I do like in the sense that when you start a war in the Dominion system, it would last for like 3 months plus, right? And so there was no way that I could have a life and log in every single day during that. So now with a compressed system, the fact that you can take a system in about 6 days of time means that, I can log on and just help be there on the field for 6 days plus running a purge, and that's great. But at the same time, it does just seem like it's a system of conquest that's been designed. I don't really know how many people actually enjoy conquest that were involved in that, and how many people who enjoy conquest realizing that those grand narratives are important for the health of the game, because people don't. Nobody. And when was the last time that you saw a story go viral about something really impressive in EVE Online that happened in high sec or low sec?
never, ever.
Yeah,
unless
I mean,
think there's once.
The closest thing to an amazing story that went viral in that was the original Istvan Shogatsu heist, which had nothing to do with the area of space. It happened, I believe, happened in low-sec, but it wasn't a low-sec story. It was an espionage story. So, I mean, regardless of whether you like it or not, null-sec war is what gets press and gets waves of people coming into this game to try it. That is the reality. If you don't accept the reality, then your life is difficult. But for those of us who live in the reality-based world, it is what it is. I don't know.
It's easy to call the names, but that's not the purpose for us here, because we're just trying to explain to our listeners or watchers, wherever you are, or cocksuckers, doesn't matter, that we just see that from inside and outside that the system is kind of broken, and there is a ways to fix it, and still is, before the shit is just gonna go downhill, and but I guess you guys need to raise more of your voice on e-forums, on a Reddit or whatever, because the CSM in the current state as it is, it doesn't work. It's useless. Because
is there anybody on the CSM currently who says that it's working at all?
Every one of them will tell. I mean, we're not talking about nullsec guys. The nullsec guys, they have a fucking brains, okay? The other people, they don't, because they're just gonna be the shit works because he thinks that somebody listens to him, okay? Because if he thinks that he's been elected from some pubby schmubby shit fucking show, that he's a space fucking important, okay? And his opinion is fucking important, but in reality it is not, because all what is matter is us nullsec guys. We're the one who creates those epic fights. We're the one who creates those united alliances, coalitions, corporations, members, okay? We're the ones who makes for CCP the game successful, let's be honest. And I'm not talking about my alliance or your Alex alliance. I'm talking about every nullsec guys that are there trying to do something, right?
To create the content. I mean, I would say that Sugar Kyle, I mean, she's not in nullsec, but I am a huge fan of Sugar Kyle's. I mean, I think that she is awesome. But beyond that, I can't really think of a current CSM member who's not.
I'm not saying she's not cool. I'm not saying any of them is not cool. What I'm trying to say, there is a big difference between serve a purpose of helping to fix the game, rather than just trying to be heard by CCP. You know what I mean? And majority of the CSM members right now has a goal to be heard. Like, oh my god, oh my god, I touched the fucking chat with the CCP schmucka fucka fucka whatever his name is. That's what they're mostly excited about. And they're like a little kids who trying to grab the microphone from each other's hands just to to be heard. And that's what I'm saying.
Nice.
It feels sometimes like a clown show.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me jump in here. Speaking of grabbing the mic, guys, we're starting to run out of time for today, so we're going to start moving into our giveaways. So if you haven't typed in chat already, you type in chat and follow the channel. If you're not following the channel, you cannot win anything. That's our one requirement. We're giving away 3 pirate rookie ship codes, and thanks to the Legion of Death and UAxDeath here, our guests, we'll be giving away 3 Plex today. So we have 6 giveaways today. 6 giveaways. If you win,
That's
you need
awesome.
to message the channel. Message the channel with your in-game character name and what you won. So guys, I'll be doing that in just a few minutes. So make sure you type in chat, and let's just keep the convo rolling. I mean, the CSM stuff is interesting, and you're talking about the CSM. And one of the things with being in the Capital Focus Group right now is there's 37 people in the Capital Focus Group discussion channel. So basically,
oh wow! So basically, you could pick and choose. So I'm just gonna get in there. Sorry, Les.
Yeah, go for it.
When you have 37 people, or when you have a disunited council, like one of the reasons why somebody in chat is saying like, oh, it just sounds like nullsec people aren't really playing nice. The reality of politics is unity allows you to get things done. When you present a position to an opposing side or a collaborator, whatever you want to call CCB, if you have the players on one side and CCB on the other, and the players are united and they say we want X, Y, and Z, that matters. If the players are disunited and they say 37 different things, so if you've got a Capital Focus Group with 37 different voices in it, all that means is that the person who's on the other side listening to those voices is able to find what fits their confirmation bias and say, oh, out of this cacophony of 37 people, that guy over there is saying stuff that I already agree with. And so I'm going to listen to him. So there is no unity, there is no success, there is no feedback, there's just chaos. And out of that, you can cherry pick what you want to think to suit your own biases. And then you end up with $1,000 designer jeans.
There's a lot of discussion in there, but it's just there's just so many voices. It's kind of like talking to a crowd, and you can never get too much done because there's so many people, and the topic jumps around so much. It's just
Nosy Gamer is very smart, and he's pointing out in the channel. He says, "I agree. That's why it's a shame the nullsec reps apparently can't get together." Death, is that a fair statement? Because you've been talking about how the non-nullsec reps can't get together. Are the nullsec reps on the CSM currently united?
No. We pretty much nullsec guys. We're pretty much united and we share opinion, but we just kind of lost the faith. Yeah, we just kind of lost the faith, and this just goes to both ways. The CCP lost the faith too because again. Imagine a group. I'm going to be really briefly. Imagine a group. You have like a 20 guys. Out of those 20 guys, 4 guys will have a same united opinion, right? They put it up to you very nicely and easily so you can understand it. And then there's the other 16 who screams and yells and trying to say, "Hey, this is my shit. No, this is my shit better than your shit." And by the end of the day, as a game developer, you don't know like who to listen to, because if the group would be united like us in CSM 6 and CSM 7, where this was a simple statement from everybody, right?
Yep.
Doesn't matter if some of us were agreed or not. We were
understood that the unit was necessary.
Yes.
You would make concessions and compromises amongst themselves to advocate the overall whole, because that's how real politics works.
Exactly. So, but then it's even as we are united, it's really hard to make the CCP listen to us, because in the same time there's other voices who keep fucking screaming like that nonsense, and I don't blame CCPers, for it. So, it's
well, they changed the voting system such that they wanted it. In theory, they wanted to not have a united bloc after all of the nullsec people provided a united voice, and the system became very strong. That they changed the voting system, and now you have a lack of unity amongst people who do not know how to unite. And then, lo and behold, when you break people up, when you try to fight against organization, you provide disorder and chaos, you lose value. Just like we see in a lot of nullsec now. So, whatever. We need to give some stuff
Yes,
away.
exactly.
I mean, people in chat are saying that they would really like to see more death and that they wish that the Metashow would go on for 2 hours. We might actually look to extending it. I don't know how much of my Saturday I can do. Running my mouth for 2 hours is tough. But Death, would you be willing to come on the Metashow more often? I mean, you and Graf have been some of our most popular guests recently.
I'm just afraid if me and Graf is gonna be in the same show, we're just gonna fucking destroy this shit, and the people
that would be,
gonna.
we'll do a special,
It'd be perfect.
The Death and Graf show. I mean, forget the Metashow.
Exactly.
You know, instead of this, you know,
For my brother Graf, let's push forward, my forward troops.
after the Metashow, we should
Jesus.
just start having the Death and Grath show. I would watch that. That would be fantastic. All right, let's give some shit away, Les.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So the first winner, guys, first winner is going to be Pirate Rookie Code. It's going to be Wookie Bear. Talk about Rig, one of our mods here on the channel, also our subscriber. Wookie, thanks for the support and the help with modding the channel. So congratulations, man. You got yourself something finally. Next giveaway is going to be Persilus, one of our followers. Man, thank you so much for your support. And third code is going to be Quadraven. So all three of you guys have won Pirate Rookie ship codes. And the next three giveaways are going to be for the Plex, guys. Next three giveaways will be for the Plex.
Death making it rain once again.
Yes.
Thanks to CCB for the Pirate Faction codes, and thanks to Death himself for the Plexes he's going to be giving away.
Can I interrupt you just for 1 sec? I also gonna give away 2 more Plexes right now for the person who I will pick and choose myself, who I will like, who will say nullsec for the win.
So guys, spam
Nullsec
chat,
for the win?
nullsec for the win.
And Death will choose 2 of you, or was that 1 of you?
No, that just one person with
just
the 2
one,
Plex.
just one.
2 Plexes, yeah.
So guys,
Okay.
first winner for the first Plex that Death is giving away is Kiz_1. You've won, man. Make sure you message the channel with your in-game name. I need all your in-game names for this, guys. Next one's going to be RazXYM. RazXYM is the second Plex. And the third is going to be Banging Beer. Banging Beer with the third.
And awesome. So all of you guys, make sure to message the channel with your in-game name. We will get that. When I say the channel, I don't mean spam it in chat. I mean send a message to the Twitch channel. We will forward that over to Death. Make sure you make it clear whether you're getting one of the Plexes or a rookie code. If you lie, we'll check the logs and then you won't get anything. And Death is going to select somebody to get 2 Plex for how much for the win they can spam.
Yeah. So guys,
Yep.
Go for it.
The guy, I like the guy called Ubuntrux. I'm not sure if I call his nickname right. He's gonna get a 2 Plex out of us.
How do you spell
Just
that?
for saying.
Spell the-
I will copy paste right now here in the Skype.
Yep. So you bunk trucks.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I just posted in the chat.
It's like a it's like a Linux joke.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
guys,
Well, congratulations, guys.
we're out of time, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sorry it wasn't longer. I know you guys all loved the Death and Grath last week. Maybe we
We'll
should
just
have
we'll just swap out every week. We'll have either Death or Grath depending on schedule, and
Well,
then maybe
people
we
also
can have a Death
suggested,
and Grath show. Yeah, I mean,
people suggest having like a nothing but like nullsec, like a six leaders from nullsec just doing one.
we
big
could
show
do
or
we could
something like
basically
that.
do the block leader power hour where we all get sit around and drink beer or just drink vodka and get fucked up on comms and mouth off with our opinions. I mean, the thing is that's nice about this, running over time briefly, but it's a great opportunity for people to see what the nullsec block leaders are really like, as in we're all jerks. We're interesting jerks, but we're all jerks. It is.
We're funny jerks.
We're funny jerks. That is what it is. All right, man. Well,
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
Thanks again, Death,
for
coming
having
on,
me.
guys. Shout out to Blue Yeti and Razor for help in supporting the channel, and all you guys for subscribing and tuning in. So you guys have a good Saturday. Coming up right now after this is the Big Red Boat with the boat show, and then later tonight, guys, I'll be doing shots for donations while I play scary games. So please don't kill me.
You can watch him scream like a little girl,
Yeah, exactly.
just like every day that ends in a Y.
Guys, coming up next, the boat show.
The boat show. The boat show.